We all know that estate planning is important. It's important to protect all of the things that we've put together over the course of our lifetime, all the things that we've accumulated, saved, bought. And it's important to be certain that those things, stay within our family, go to the people that we care about, go to the charities that we care about, whatever our goals might be. For parents of young children, it can allow them to name guardians, name custodians of their assets for their children. It avoids family conflicts because, it states your intention. And so there's no confusion. And a proper plan avoids the confusion of dying intestate, as an example, where there'd be confusion about anything that we intended. And if we use the right vehicles, say trusts, things like that, it could even reduce our expenses, as well as our estate taxes. And so having a proper estate plan is really important. So why might it be more important even for women to have an estate plan? Hi, I'm Sally Boyle, the founder of S.J. Boyle Wealth Planning, a firm that works with individuals and families who are approaching retirement. Yeah, why might it be more important for a woman to have an estate plan? Well, I think one of the things we're pretty consistently told is that women live longer than men. So in a family, in a partnership, in a marriage, it's highly likely that that woman is going to be the last one standing. And if that's the case, it's going to be her estate planning documents that are most important, that will be the ones that determine, who gets what in the family of the things that we've saved. But one of the things that is happening today is there's a shift of wealth to women, so that today women hold about 30% of the nation's wealth. And it's projected that by 2030, they'll hold about 67%. So with wealth comes responsibility, right? And good strategic planning with this wealth can assure that women are taken care of during their lifetime. They'll have a very healthy financial future while they're living. But it also protects those assets in the event of their death, again, to assure that those assets stay with the people that they or their partners had cared about. But we also find more and more women becoming entrepreneurs, owning businesses, and achieving financial success on their own. And their estate plans are needed to address their business succession needs, to achieve their management engagement needs of those businesses. And it's important to do that succession planning because you may have employees that depend on you. You may have family members who are part of that business. So the estate planning is important. But even if you're married to the entrepreneur of the family, it's very important that you understand the succession of that business, the succession plans associated with your partner's business. Because if they die, and particularly if they die early, then you're going to be the one inheriting not just the business value itself, but the business. And so it's important that you're familiar with it so that you can preserve that value and make sure that it continues for employees or family members who might be employed there. One of the things, though, there's several things that we hear a little less often. And one of them is that today, women serve as the majority of custodial parents. More than half of custodial parents are women. And with that comes significant responsibility. But it also gives great opportunity for them to care for those families, to care for others through their estate planning, and to be certain that their families will be cared for in the event of their premature death or dying in advance of those family members. Along with that, women are the caregivers. They're most often the caregivers in a family. They're not just taking care of their own children, but they're maybe taking on responsibility for grandchildren. They might have responsibility for caring for their aging parents. And so this leaves those family members vulnerable in the event of their death. If they're caring for grandchildren, there's some value to that caregiving that a family member will have to take on. If they're taking care of their aging parents, then who's going to succeed them in taking on that responsibility? So these responsibilities can influence estate planning decisions, appointing guardians for even your elderly parents or minor children, and making provisions for the care of these family members as well. Statistics also show that more than half of widowed or divorced women remarry. So an estate plan is a way to preserve the assets of the original marriage for the family members of that marriage, or to do something else with it. But if there's some thought going into it, is probably going to be the surviving widow whose estate planning documents are going to prevail in the settlement of the original family estate. And if that's the case, having an estate plan done in advance of a remarriage is very important. And it can protect that family member from, making poor decisions that they're not understanding the consequences are, and diverting inadvertently the value of the original family assets away from that family. So some estate planning can protect family assets in the event of a remarriage. But I think the point is, because of longevity, because women live longer than their partners, possibly even longer than other family members, there is a need to plan for that, to plan the estate for the distribution of assets that take that into consideration. It's almost their estate planning documents that are most important. But also, because of longevity, the woman might be the last one standing. It's important that you make provisions for your health care, preserve assets for your health care, and make sure that those health needs in advance of your death, as well as the end of life planning, those need to be done to reflect those values. Now, we know that the key components of an estate plan are a will, distributing those assets that maybe are in your name only, trusts that might be used to manage your assets during your lifetime, as well as distribute them at your death, appointing members to assume power of attorney, financial power of attorney, as well as to execute your healthcare proxies. And looking at our beneficiary designations of retirement plans, life insurance, even transfer on death accounts in our financial institutions are important to coordinate the decisions in utilizing those documents to make sure our estate plans are strategically sound. And even just something as simple as a letter of instruction to it's a non-legal document, but it gives instruction to those people who are going to execute our estate plan, funeral arrangements, location of important documents, things like that, so that these particular instruments are in place to execute a proper estate plan. And we're going to have a webinar in just several weeks that will talk in detail with an attorney of these areas of estate planning, so that you can hear more detail on them. So stay tuned.